Yes, yes. Yeah, definitely. Um, it doesn't. Okay, it's you see games differently. You also know you're more knowledgeable about how they make games. In my case, I'm a bit of like a special case. It's because I learned how to. I did like studies in the video game industry, so I know a lot about how they make game, but on a macro scale.
Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm Lion, and there's no Rap today. He's off helping his parents with a few things, but we are here, joined by our wonderfully esteemed guest.
ChaikaRaven, hello.
Hello, thank you very much for
Thank you for having
joining me.
me.
Thank you for joining. Oh, so let's just
Yeah.
go to the meat and potatoes of it. What are you most known for, and how did you get started with VRChat and into everything else?
I'm most known for being a DJ, a world creator, and a event host. So I run a club in VRchat that's called Sanctuary, that's currently on hold, and I also participate in a bunch of events. I try to give a hand, like give a helping hand to whoever needs it. I'm most active in the European community, and I'm also kind of known for running the VR part of the mixed reality event Anticorp.
Oh wow, sounds like you're up to a lot. How'd you get started with everything and into VRChat? That's what got me curious. It sounds like you're doing a lot.
Um, I started VR chat in 2022, when I got my Quest 2, basically. And at the time, I wasn't really a DJ or anything. I was just hanging out in the game. But I also started DJing around the same time. I didn't know like you could connect both. I was DJing on the side. I was hanging out in VR chat on the other. And at one point, I discovered these raves in VR chat. And so I started DJing in VR chat shortly after. From that point on, I think just a few months down the line, I made my own first world. I always was interested in creating stuff. So I made my first world and first event, and yeah, from that point on, I just get involved with the community, lend a hand, and J for events that are cool. I think that's what really happened, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
Oh wow. So what started Sanctuary and Anticorp, may I ask? What got those two projects started up and running?
So Sanctuary was it was kind of my baby. So when I first made it, it was for my birthday. I wanted to have a birthday party. At the time, I was very involved with the French community of VRChat, and in the French community, we only had one club, which is called QNode. It's on hold for now, but I heard it's coming back. Um, so the QNode was the only club that existed in VRChat for the French people, and I knew them very well. They're good friends, and so at one point I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's do my birthday, but not do it in QNode. I want to challenge myself. I want to make a world. So I made Sanctuary, which was just a world at first. I hosted my birthday party there, and that's kind of what started this world, and down the line started the club. Um, so after a while, I wanted to organize new events, so I remade the world, then started a Discord because we had people getting interested because of course I got more skills in world creation. I was spending more time, so people were like, "Oh, this world is cool. I want to do events on there." So I got more people involved, and at the end, I think in 2023, end of 2022, and uh, no, I'd say during 2023, we used to host like one event every 2 weeks,
Hmm.
every Sunday, um, showcasing new talents and different type of music. And yeah, I think, the world was very active during the time.
Hmm.
And for Anticorp, it all goes back again to QNode. That's my first ever rave was in that world, in that club. And so I joined that for the first time. I saw this crazy guy on the screen displaying crazy music. Is playing heavy drum and bass. His name is Antic, and we kind of hit off because we are DJing the same music at the time. So of course we're like, oh cool, you're DJing the same music as me. You're aspiring DJ, and you're kind of like good and stuff. Let's talk. So we talk, and he talks to me about this crazy idea he has of doing this mixed reality event. And so we discuss around that, and it took almost, I'd say almost 2 years to put that idea into a real thing. Um, so yeah, we met in VR chat, then we met in real life, and after that we did our own event in real life, which
Oh
I think
wow.
is really cool. It's a really cool story because, we met in VR chat, and in the end we're very good friends in real life, and now we're doing our real thing in real life.
Oh wow. So that's actually quite crazy. You started your VRChat adventure experiencing the rave scene to now then doing the same thing but in real life with the portals and stuff. What about the scene
Yeah.
made you want to like push yourself to do those kinds of things and stick with you?
So when when I first got into the rave scene, I was very involved with the French community, and I quickly started going more into the European part.
Hmm.
I was seeing all those crazy events, all those things happening, and in the French community, we like to do things in big. Like we like to do things big. That's why the first large scale rave that we did, it got very crazy. We had people from outside of VR coming to see it. I remember seeing posts on LinkedIn about it. Like that was a big thing in France. So we always like to do things like very crazy, and we then started making portals event with that French group of people. So around the time, I think it was in 2022, mid 2022, we created a group that's called Frenchcorner. That was just a group of people that used to go to raves, but they're French, so that's why it's called the French Corner. And we organized our own events. We had we had like media coming to talk to us about what we're doing in VR, and we were invited to like charity events in real life and doing portals there to showcase what like VR and VR chat in general, like how cool it is that you can see them and they can see you. So I got my hands on that fairly early on, doing portals. And with that experience, of course, with Antic, when we were talking about making Anticorp, the portals came in fairly quick because we're like, yeah, you know how to do it, so we should do it, and that was always in mind. So I gather a lot of experience from the French corner and what we did within like those in real life events, conventions, and that was very nice, and that gave me a lot of like feedback and a lot of experience. Yeah.
Hmm. So now that you talk about it, we'll talk about the portals and Anticorp. What has the experience been like for you, like running these portals, and what has been like the people in, let's say, real life or meet spaces response to the whole VR portals?
Um. So I think the first really like the real like how do you say that? The first time I saw a lot of people from outside seeing Portal for the first time. It was in a convention in my city. Um, those it's kind of like Anime Expo
Hmm.
and stuff like this, but French.
Hmm.
And we're running a portal there with the VRchat France community and Metro which is who's a YouTuber, and French VR, which is all three communities that were holding a booth at this convention. And so we're running a portal, and you have all those people that are kind of like they kind of know that VR exists, they kind of know video games, they kind of know anime, and so they're getting there and they're seeing this portal, and you tell them, yeah, they see you and they can hear you, and you can talk to them and you can hear them, and that was kind of crazy because people were like, "What's going on? What's going on with all those people? Those crazy people? There's furries, there's anime girls, there's plenty of weird creatures in the screen, and they're all real people, and you can talk to them." Um, of course, we took it was kind of like a gamble because people were kind of not used to that. Um, we minimized the risk, honestly, to be like completely honest, we minimized the risk. The people that were in the portal, they were very selected people. Like we knew exactly who was who, and we knew who was gonna be on the portal because you can't take much risk when you're showcasing it to like a broad audience into like know exactly who is who, and you need to know they're not gonna do anything weird. So that worked pretty well. I think it really worked with kind of younger people. I actually like childs and kids in general. They really like it because it's something they never seen before. Um, and they're very like, wow, look at this person, like look at this crazy creature that's moving like this, and they have legs and everything. It's always kind of like impressive for them,
Hmm.
and really worked. But we did a lot of work also telling the parents that your chat is 13 plus minimum, that they shouldn't get a VR headset if they're too young and stuff like this. But just as a demo, it really worked well. Yeah.
Hmm. Wow.
And of course in Anticorp it was a bit more, well, we'll get to talk to it about it later, but for Anticorp it was a bit more open and with a more adult audience, of course, because it's a rave. So that was a bit different challenge.
Okay. So you mentioned earlier that a lot of media came in to ask you guys about it. What was the general consensus from the media about what you're doing with portals and VR chat?
The first time we had a lot of media coverage was for our own rave. That was the first large-scale rave in France. It's called Intempestible.
Hmm.
Um, so to give a little bit of context, we're doing raves in VRchat in France. There's raves in VRchat that exist for like years now because we're in 2022. Their shelter exists, like everything exists, right? But in France, we just have one club. And all my friends from the French corner were like, wouldn't it be cool that all my friends who don't know how to DJ, they learn how to DJ in like a month and did a very cool, like a 30-minute set with visuals, everything pre-recorded, of course, because nobody has a DJ deck beside me, right? So, like, if they do a DJ set, they record it, they make visuals, and then we showcase it to the French community and advertise it as a big thing. And from that group of people, there's YouTubers, there's TikTok influencers, there's people that are kind of famous. So we had a lot of coverage before the event, because you have this Cyclo, for example, which is who's like one of the biggest French YouTuber about VR. You have Lenny who does TikToks, and all those people in the scene that are in that group who are kind of famous in the community. And so we're doing this. We advertise it a lot. Honestly, we did too much advertisement. We did like 2 weeks worth of marketing and crazy visuals and all that. And so the rave happened. There's like 80 people, of course, because that's the max that you can do. We do overflows. And we have people that are not that are kind of familiar with VR, that are professionals in VR, but they don't really play VR chat. They use VR for other things. That see that from those famous people from our community, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. I want to go there." So they're interested. They come and see the event. They're like, the world is also Quest compatible, so that's easy. They join. They see the event. Everything is going well, and after that, we just let it go. We upload our sets to YouTube, we share it, we share the pictures, we make kind of like an after movie, stuff like this. And yeah, I think 2 weeks later we saw articles on LinkedIn of people talking about it. saying that that was the first VRchat music event in France, that it was very big, and people were kind of impressed because they never heard about it before. And so yeah, that was the thing. It's like the first time something out like this in this scale happens in France. So of course people are gonna talk about it, and honestly, it put a lot of eyes on us. And at the time, we're all kind of like, we're just doing this for fun, and now we can actually do a little bit of, we can actually maybe turn it into a career, like kind of become professionals in that thing, because in France there's like no one else doing this. So there was a big change at the time. But we only got positive feedback. Only people were just impressed, surprised. It was the first time they see that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was really positive in the end.
Oh wow. So is that one of the few times that Anticorp and you guys ran portals like on such a large scale? Have you done any more since?
Um, so for Anticorp, we didn't have any portals. It was only VRchat. At the time, we're thinking about portals. We're thinking about it, but we didn't have anything. Honestly, we didn't really know how to do it yet. We had
Ah.
kind of figured it out, but we're still like talking about it and like how can you do that kind of stuff. Um, for the first portal, I think we had to wait a little bit longer. I think we had to wait a year
Okay.
when we had the time to actually gather in real life and stuff like this. I think the first portal we did was around my friend's house. We went to my friend's house and then we put a portal there just to try it out, just for like, okay, we need to see if it works. So we did a little bit of like a very simple event. There wasn't a lot of people. At the time we're running the portal just to see.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, we were talking about it. How can you make it happen? How can you do it tech-wise? So that at the time I was talking with Nthink about it. Like, okay, maybe we can. Okay, if we take that much like video projectors, maybe if we have like 4 computers. We're just talking about it. How can you do this?
Mm. Okay. So through those experiences, have you made any ones that have stuck with you or anything? Any memories from the whole Anticorp portals live events in real life that have stuck with you over the time you've been working with them?
Yeah, Anticorp was, I think, Anticorp, the event was just the one that struck with me the most because it was the most advanced, it was the most complete, and it was a real life event. So of
Mm.
course, like whenever like all the events we did with the French corner before, there were we go to like those charity events, we do a lot of stuff, and the portal is a little bit it's like a little bit part of it, but it's not very long. It's not gonna last the whole weekend. With Anticorp, it's a portal that's running for the whole night. So yeah, that's the most impressive one and the most, the craziest one. But I think I can just explain to people like what Anticorp is and how it went.
Okay. Awesome. So I'm gonna pull back into Sanctuary. What were some of the earlier
Okay, yeah.
sanctuaries of events like, and what was it like during its growth?
Okay, so for Sanctuary, as I said first, it was just a world.
Hmm.
Sanctuary was just a world. It was just a church with instead of having glass panels, you had screens. That was the whole thing. Sanctuary was so just a world, very simple world. It was my first ever world when I worked on it. Um, so it was very junky, of course. And then I started working more on it. I think the second version I spent like 3 weeks on it. It was crazy, crazy amount of time. Um, and I started running events on it for my birthday. After that, I kind of put it on hold. I was learning how to make worlds, but not within Sanctuary, but within other projects. And I think at one point I thought to myself, yeah, I want to run another event there. I think the world is cool. Let me remake it. So I remake the world. I spent 3 weeks on it. and then the new world is ready, and I'm booking people. So I'm contacting people. I'm like, yeah, let's do music there. I can't exactly remember who I booked there because it's so old, you know. Um, yeah, it was in 2022. So I book people. We do an event. It's really cool. Then I get some people that contact me. They're like, "Yo, I seen your pictures online of your world. Can I organize my own event there?" I said yes. I think it was for a release party for an album. I'm not quite sure. Those people, I didn't know who they were. They just had this release party they wanted to do. I said yes. They joined. They make their own event. It was great. Very interesting music. So I lend them the world. Then they do their events. And I'm like, I think people are kind of liking this world, so I'm gonna do more. Um, so at the time, local PogChamp 69 is a good friend of mine. Tells me that you wanna do events in the church every Sunday and call it the Sunday Mass and celebrate different type of music and showcase new emerging DJs that don't have the chance to DJ in big clubs because they're not known. So the whole thing is you're a DJ, you starting out, you want to DJ, come DJ for us. No, we don't care about if you're good, we don't care about what type of music you do, we just care about if you're a good person and if you want to DJ, you come. And then there's also more seasoned DJs if they want to try something new, they want to do something different they never did, they can come to us as well. So it's just a place to experience and have fun. That's what matters. It's a place where you experience, where you try new things, and that's great. And if you go there, you're okay with listening to a kind of janky set because it's this first set of that new DJ, you know, it's okay. Nobody's judging you. It's all right. So we did that for almost a year. Yeah, we did that for almost a year. Every Sunday we're doing those events. It was really cool.
Oh wow.
And I think yeah, every Sunday or every two weeks, but I can't exactly remember. But it was a lot. It was a lot. So after a while, we kind of stopped doing this because yeah, it was too much for the host. For everyone, it was a bit too much because you know, you need a host every week to be there every Sunday to run an event. Um, at the same time, I was creating the Sanctuary Discord, and I was creating new worlds. I was creating a new world called Forest, which is it's a forest. I don't know what to say. It's just a forest with a DJ deck in it. But this was made for playing chill music, ambient music, music that relax you. And so on the Sunday you had the Sunday Mass, and on the Monday you had the forest where you can relax after a long day of work and just, you know, listen to relaxing music, discuss with your friend, you know, just chat and be there in a relaxing environment. So yeah, that was a more like big event that I didn't run every week. I was running it every month. We did that for a while. So I created at the time I created the Discord, everything. We decided to stop Sunday Mass because it's too much, and we decided to run more every month event type of stuff and more like, you know, events that you spend more time on it. We did that for a little bit until I remade the world a third time because I love remaking that world. It's just this world has evolved like it's still the same church, but everything inside has changed, you know. So I remake the world a third time, and I think that was in 2023. I don't say anything. I can't really remember the time. I think it was end of 2023 when I remade the world. Um, and for this we decided to do like bigger events. So with like a more worked on lineup with a theme. So for example, I think the most memorable one was Metal X. It was a metal crossover night. So you take metal and you play metal with let's say, hardcore music, metal with dubstep, metal with drum and bass, metal with whatever, it's just metal with something else. And it really fitted the whole world because it's a church. It's kind of cool. That was a big event, and I think we had a lot of fun. And since then, I haven't been hosting much events. I have a job. I have a lot of stuff to do. I kind of wanted to focus more on DJing. So Sanctuary has been put on hold since then. All the worlds, all the events, because Sanctuary wasn't just the church. It was also the forest. It was also the desert. It was also all those crazy worlds that I made.
Hmm.
But for now, I'm focusing more on DJing. I've put on hold Sanctuary. I think we have a lot of cool place in Europe. We have a lot of cool DJ place in Europe. So even Sanctuary is not running, we still can party. We still have pretty cool, like a lot of clubs. It's all right. And if they need some help, I always offer my help. I know a lot Seren. I like to give them a hand. Hive Mind, which is also on hold, but we do pop up from time to time. I like to lend a hand. I can still work on some stuff. I can't put that much work into a big scale project like Sanctuary because I have to do everything myself. But
Hmm.
if I can lend a hand, I will still do it,
Okay.
even if it's on hold.
So, where did the name and the theme for Sanctuary come from? May I ask?
Sanctuary because it was my own sanctuary. It was my own world. It's a church, so kind of makes sense because it's a church, so it's sanctuary. And it was my own world, so it was my own place. I could feel good in it. When I first made Sanctuary, I don't know, it felt good. When I was in it, I was just, I feel good. It's my little sanctuary.
Hmm.
And I think the theme, the whole aesthetic of Sanctuary is pixel art. So the whole logo is a pixel art. And that's something we worked on with a good friend of mine, Lai. He's the artistic director in real life. So we
Hmm.
worked on this together. And I think Sanctuary kinda the whole thing around the different worlds that made Sanctuary is that it's a church, it's a forest, it's a desert, it's all kind of place that can be called sanctuaries. A forest which kind of look like a secluded place where you can feel good inside. Um, every world I made during that project were all made with the idea of feeling good inside of it. Feeling like comfy and having fun. So all those worlds are kind of sanctuaries in their own way. I mean, I even took the joke a bit far. I even made a joke about it when I made sanctuaries and I made public toilets, because it can be called sanctuaries. It's your sanctuary. So I even took the joke a bit far and made toilets because it's a sanctuary. So you can do all kind of stuff. You have to make it comfy. That was the whole thing about it. Every world has this kind of sanctuary feeling, kind of the feeling of being secured, safe and comfy. Yeah.
Hmm. So, through the events you've run with Sanctuary, what have been some memorable events, and what kinds of things did you and the group do while it was running? That stick with you.
Yeah. Metal X definitely was one of the biggest one. Because it was in the new church. It was really great. The music was great. The VJs were amazing. I think the forest with turquoise was amazing as well. Good music. I remember seeing like two or three people sleeping in the world at the time because it was that chill. So yeah, that even kind of stuck with me. I think as well the desert one because we only did one Blood Moon. That was the name of the event. That was really cool. Um, very interesting music. Like it was the year ago. It was for October. It was for Halloween. So that was a very cool event, and all the pop-ups in the, I think all the pop-ups in the toilets, I think those were very, very fun because nobody was taking itself seriously. You're in public toilets, so you know you you just do whatever. Yeah, I think all those ones they really stuck with me. Yeah.
Okay. So when choosing the themes as for the worlds, like the forest, the church, the desert for the Halloween event, what made you choose and select those worlds? What was the inspirations for them when you chose them?
For the church, honestly, I watched a video online of someone hosting a rave in a church, and there was people debating about the quality of the sound in a church, and that's true. If you play music in a church, the sound is amazing. This reverb and everything is cool. So that was kind of like the thing. It was like it's always kind of put inside a place that's real. I try to do photo real when I do worlds. So Sanctuary looked very goofy at start, but you know, that was the thing I was going for. The forest was inspired by the rave and the free parties we have in France. Um, so the rave culture in France is that you do illegal raves. Is that you go inside a forest and there's a big sound system and everything is legal and you have fun there. So that was the inspiration for that forest world. Is that big sound system, very big, massive, I'd say, but we play chill music.
Hmm.
You know, it's just you do something and then you do the opposite. It's funny and I like it.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, the forest was inspired by the free parties in France. The desert was just, well, forest is in a forest. What if we did another biome? So we do the desert now, and we have to make it kind of like a desert. A desert can be scary. You know, you're alone in the desert. How do you not make it scary? But still a little bit spooky because it's for Halloween. So that was it. And for the toilets, honestly, I just wanted a goofy idea. I was like, this is my sanctuary, my toilets, and you know, just make public toilets, put two chairs, one table, some big sound system, and it's funny. It's always you. I like laughing in real life. I like making jokes, and when I do stuff, I want to make them a little bit funny. So there's always a little bit of thing that's kind of funny in all the worlds. I try to. I don't take myself too seriously. I don't think that's. You know, I like people who do things very seriously. It's very serious, brave worlds. You can think my worlds are kind of serious, but there's always one thing that will make you laugh inside. I think in the church there's like a poor guy, like a poor skeleton, like stuck to the wall with his hips shattered and like bottles of wine everywhere. You know, you have to put a joke somewhere, you know, and I think that's kind of like the thing that always connect all those worlds is that there's always something that's kind of funny about it.
Okay. Well, thank you for explaining the inspiration for all that. And with that, what got you started making worlds in the first place, and how long did it take you to pick up the skill to build these large-scale worlds?
Um, like I said, I'm a very creative person. I like when I was a kid, I loved playing with Legos, and I felt like making worlds was kind of the same. So you take stuff, you put them on top of each other, and then you make them work. Um, I don't know. I was making early on in VRChat. I made my own avatars because I wanted to have. I thought it was so interesting to see people making avatars. I don't think I have the skills of an avatar creator, but I make my own avatars. And making worlds seemed like fairly easy and fun until I started and discovered it wasn't, but that's alright. The thing is, when I made my first world, it was just there was the church. I saw that I didn't have the skills at all to make the church, So I made a small scale world before. I made a little room, and that room is, when I look at it now, I'm like, oh my god, everything is wrong with it, but that's okay. It was my first world. Then I was also familiar with the Unity editor because when I was a teenager, I used to kind of play with the Unity editor, make small games. So I was okay with it. When I loaded the Unity editor, I think the first time I was making worlds for VRchat, I didn't know the scale. I was making massive world, massive. And when I was spawning in, I was super small, and everything was so big. I had to redo it all the time. And yeah, I made a bunch of worlds that I never published, but I was trying out stuff, and then until I made the church, which was a real shipped world that was near the end in that room, that small room.
Hmm.
I just think making worlds is cool. You learn a lot about making games in the process. I think there's a lot of stuff you can learn when making worlds in VRChat. You understand the Unity editor. If you really want to get into it, you can start scripting. For example, I don't script at all. I use scripts from others. Or I ask ChatGPT, But you learn how to use the Unity editor. You learn how to put stuff. And at the same time, you learn some very advanced stuff. Like if you start learning about making lights, I don't think a lot of people know how to make proper lights in video games. And unless they're very like skilled, and VRChat brings you to that same point as people that have been in the game industry for a long time. I know game devs that have been doing Unity for 10 years that don't know as much as me on light stuff, but they're very talented creators. They know how to script, and I don't have the skills in scripting, but I know a lot of stuff in making the worlds and making stuff like this. And I think with Unity and VRChat, you can start learning a lot about making games. I think it's very interesting.
So I'm going to ask you a bit of a layered and heavy question. So I apologize, but I'm really good at these. So between
Yeah.
everything we've talked about, between Shelter, the real life events you've done, and Anticorp and world building, have you seen or interacted with VRChat any differently than you did when you were just a player?
Oh, yeah, definitely. The thing is, I define myself being kind of dumb. It's in a way that if I don't see something, usually I don't understand it. And when I see it, I need a lot of time to understand it. I'm a fast learner, but I need to. How do I say that? I'm a fast learner, but I learn slow. I don't know how to explain that. It's when it clicks, but I need some times before it clicks. Um, the thing is, when I started playing the game, I was just like everyone else. I was going in public rooms. I was hanging out with people. I was just, being a VR chat guy. I was a questie as well. Um, and then when I started making worlds and I started hanging out in raves, I saw the gap and the technologies we have. It's like most of the VR chat worlds you visit, they are fairly advanced. But in the rave scene, for example, everyone's using the latest tech. Everyone's using the latest asset that released the latest video player, the latest everything. So it's going fairly fast and you have to keep up, which I had a hard time doing at first. I didn't know Booth, for example, and anything. I was kind of like, okay, I see this guy on YouTube is doing Pro TV, so I'm gonna use Pro TV. Where do I get this? GitHub. Okay, I'm going on GitHub, and then I discovered everything else. And when you go to Shelter for the first time and you're like, wow, I didn't know VRChat could get this beautiful, there's like all those crazy effects, your computer's burning, like you crash 10 times. It's, I had a very, like, I have a fairly old computer, so whenever I go to those crazy raves back then, I was kind of like just burning and my computer was kind of dying, but it's all right. And you see, like, where you can go. You're used to seeing those alright worlds that are kind of good, but they're kind of made by people that amateurs, you know, they're just like me. They're just people that like doing it and doing it for passion. And then you go into the rave scene and you see those people that are just like me, but they've been doing it at a level that's so high because they want to showcase like all the talents and they want to make creative space that look good and make the music sound good and everything. And you take this and you put it like 10 times. It's just very interesting and impressive. So I think the most shocking world when I was just getting in VRChat was Sanctum. When I joined Sanctum, the first time I was just so impressed with the quality of the world. It was a big game changer. Yeah, when I joined Sanctum for the first time, honestly, I was like, I didn't know VRChat was like this. I didn't know you could do stuff like this in VRChat, and that really like definitely put the spark in my head of, okay, I want to do stuff like this because that's cool, and I don't see it enough. And if I don't see it enough, it means I need to do it because I need to provide and put, showcase the people what you can do in VRChat.
One of the things we've heard from guests within the VRchat rave scene prior is groups like Sanctum and Shelter who like create a standard in VRchat, inspire various people a lot by like setting a bar you want to cross. And it seems very inspirational to a lot of people. Is that something that resonates with you as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. When I saw Sanctum, Shelter, Tube for the first time, and you used to, I don't know, you used to go into that one French world where that's kind of made in a janky way, but that's all right because it's the only one we got. Um, and then you go to the French raves, well, kind of made very well, but they're still not at the same level, and that's all right. Not everyone is the guy who makes Sanctum. It's all right. Um, and you visit them and you're like, wow, okay, so yeah, you can do that in VRChat, and you're like, that that shows you how much you can learn, how much you can go, and that's inspiring. That can be a little bit scary as well, because you're gonna make your first wall. When I made my first wall, I was like, that doesn't look like Sanctum at all. But it's all right because, well, lately I've been making worlds for 2 years now. I feel like I can make pretty good worlds if I want to. Um, and I don't know if I reach the level of Sanctum, but that's all right. I don't really care. I do things different now because, of course, I grew. I'm a more established artist, technical artist, I guess you could say, when making worlds. So I don't mind if I don't look like Sanctum because I'm still better than what I used to be. So that's what matters in the end.
You know, you saying that reminds me of a conversation we had with a previous guest, Bricaro, and he said, even if in Blender you make a Minecraft sword, it's better than what everyone else has because it's your Minecraft sword. It's a good place to, now going off that a little bit, I do agree, starting somewhere is better than nowhere, and you don't have to look like everybody else, but as long as you start, you can get there. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So,
I think the big thing in VRChat is people should just go and do things. Just do, and this place lets you upload anything you want for free. Do it. I don't know what you had. I upload 1 gig's world and nobody has seen it, but it's online. It's all right. It's there. I can go visit it if I want. It's all right. Just do it.
yeah. I So a funny question I like asking a lot of world builders or technical creatives is something when you after you've learned how to build environments and worlds and get that knowledge in your belt, do you see special effects or video games any differently than you were prior? Can you enjoy them, or do you maybe pick, oh, there's the seam there they messed the seam in the map they messed up, and do you see it differently that way as well?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, definitely. It doesn't. Okay, it's you see games differently. You also know you're more knowledgeable about how they make games. In my case, I'm a bit of like a special case. It's because I learned how to. I did like studies in the video game industry, so I know a lot about how they make game, but on a macro scale. On the technical aspect, I'm a bit less knowledgeable, but I see. No, with VRChat, I know a lot of. Okay, in this game, they're not doing this, they're not doing this, and I think the worst thing is that in VRChat, especially in the rave scene, everything is made around optimization. How do you get 80 people to not lag and show everyone in the world without lagging? And when you play games while not doing any optimization, it makes you furious. Honestly, like I could go on for hours about the new games that just use RTX and all those crazy effects that just make the games look ugly in the end if you don't have a crazy ass computer. And if you look, for example, I think the latest example I've seen online is Half-Life Alyx that run is I think it's like 6 years old now. The game looks absolutely stunning, and it's not using RTX, it's not using anything, it's using simple techniques we're using in VRChat. It's using backlightings, MSAA, it's using simple stuff that we have in Unity and we have within VRChat. Technically, if you wanted, you could make Half-Life Alyx in VRChat. Just, I mean, at least make it look as good. You can't just have the lasers and everything, but you can make a world that looks as good as Half-Life Alyx, which is a multi-million game, just they're using simple techniques and it's very optimized. And so yeah, when I see games now, I'm kind of like, they did this, they did this, but it's alright. I still enjoy games, and when there's a very good game, you really enjoy it because you're like, damn, the developers really did a very good job on it. And I think you're a bit more selective, I guess, now, but when there's a very good game, you enjoy it very much, yeah.
Okay. Now, you mentioned optimization as well. Was that an easy skill to pick up, how to optimize for rave events, and so you can get as many people in a world as possible?
Optimization definitely is a tough one. There's a lot of stuff to know. I'm still kind of learning it. I think the big misconception about optimization. I talked to a world creator. I think it was 3 weeks ago. No shame or anything. They just don't know. It's just that they were talking to me and they were like, "Yeah, my world is optimized. I've reduced the polygon counts to like a minimum I could and stuff." But it's not this that's making your world lag. It's that you have 25 games in your worlds for doing rave. It's like you have all those different stuff in your world that's making you lag. It's not because you have a lot of poly counts. There's definitely a lot of stuff to learn about. It's a big, it's for example on avatars, it's gonna be your VRAM usage, so the texture memory. So if your textures are 2K, 4K, I've seen people with like 8K textures on their body, and they're like, I don't understand why I lose 20 frames when I load in any worlds. Yeah, it's because your avatar is 8K textures and it's using a lot of your GPU. And for worlds, it's kind of the same. You have the VRAM usage, but you also have draw calls and different stuff. It's a lot to learn. I think when you're a world creator that's starting, you shouldn't care about optimization because, of course, you're still learning. You're still learning how to put stuff in the world. You're still learning how to make it good. You're still learning how to put your scripts. Don't care about optimization. It's when you have your world and it's done and it's like, okay, that's cool. Now you can learn a little bit about optimization, but just have fun first. Optimization come later. I mean, you're not gonna have 80 people in your world at the start anyway. You're just making worlds.
Okay. Those are some very good points. Now, I'd like to dip back into DJing. What got you in? What got you into DJing, and what was some of your first shows like? Hello, I'm here to interrupt your current video. Ask you a favor. Down in the description, down that way, is a link, metaversedegen.card.co, which you have a whole bunch of other places. If you wish to continue following us, we have a Twitter, which I run for us, which you get updates and other stuff and random thoughts from me. We have a Discord where Raptor I and the entire crew and all the other people we know will be over there hanging out. We game there fairly regularly or hang out in there, so feel free to go over that way and come chat with us. We'd love to meet you. We have a Spotify now. Surprise! Uh, Everything from a couple weeks ago forward, we'll have our Spotify content on Fridays. If I remember, we'll put some of our old content forward, but we're going to keep up with our current content on Spotify. So if you wish to watch it there or listen to it there, it'll be there for you as well. Also, we have a Patreon, which we have a whole other show, which we haven't been keeping up with, but we're doing our best. But we have a whole other show there for you as well. We would like to give a huge thanks to some of our supporters over that way, which is Future Oracle, Aliquum, Niche, and Forbidden Zero, all of which we thank you very much for everything, and hopefully we'll see you around and you continue to enjoy the content. Enjoy the current video. Bye-bye.
When I got into DJing, a friend of mine in real life, my best friend, bought a DJ deck. We're going a lot to drum and bass shows, dubstep shows at the time, in my city, and we're seeing them DJ, and we're like, yo, that's cool. We kind of want to try. So my best friend buys DJ deck. We're trying out at his place. We're both trying out, and we're like, yo, that's cool. And of course, we're very bad at it, but that's all right. Shortly after, I buy my own DJ deck, which is a bit smaller than his, because he bought like a fairly big DJ deck, and I bought a very small one that's kind of cheap. But it's alright, you know, we're still both learning. And then I see that there's raves in VRchat, so at first I go talk to the guy at the French club, and I'm like, can I DJ for you guys? I'm a DJ in life. They're like, yeah, for sure. Because of course there's like, I think at the time there's like 2 DJs in France in VRchat. There's no one is DJing. So I start DJing there. I do my first events at that French club, and then I start talking to Modelone, because he was there, Modelone. I start talking to Angs as well, because she was there also for some reason. So I just send them a text. I'm like, hello, you know, I'm a new DJ. We had a good conversation. I like you guys a lot. Do you have any advice, any place I could go to start DJing, maybe in, you know, for others and not only for the French people? And they were very nice people, and they told me, yeah, you should go talk to that person or go talk to that club and apply there, and you know. So I did all of this, and yeah, in the end I started DJing for other clubs in the EU scene. The start was a bit rough because I didn't know which club was in Europe, which club was in the US. So I said yes to everything, and that was kind of dumb because I received texts being like, okay, you DJ Tuesday at 4 a.m. And I had a job, so you know, so I can't do that. And I said yes, so I'm like, oh my god, if I say I can't, I'm never gonna get booked again. So I'm saying yes, and I'm going there. So I wake up at 4, I go DJ, I go back to sleep, I wake up, I go to work. You know, it's always kind of rough at the start because I didn't know. I was just following people on Twitter. I was just joining those clubs on Discord, and I was kind of saying yes to everything, which I don't recommend doing. Just if you're in Europe, go talk to Europe clubs. If you're in US, go talk to US clubs, and don't hesitate to just talk to people. You know, talk to people, ask the club owners, just be like, I do this, maybe book me sometime when you have time. But yeah, I did a lot of events at ungodly hours. That was really hard, but I still had fun. You know, I was still learning. That was, you know, it's hard to do a DJ set when you just woke up. So I learned a lot from this. Yeah.
So, what were some of well, obviously the time zones is probably one of the hardest things you've learned, but with DJing, what was some of
Yeah.
the hardest lessons you learned while DJing? May I ask?
I'd say hardest lessons is that nobody. Okay, not everyone likes what you like,
Mm.
and that's okay. For example, I DJ dubstep a lot because I love dubstep in my daily life. Not everyone likes dubstep, and shockingly, not a lot of people like dubstep, especially in Europe, for example, and on VRchat. And that's okay. Not everyone's gonna like what you're doing. But you shouldn't just adapt to what you think the people are gonna like. Because I think that's one way of kind of losing yourself. You should play the music you like, and if you notice that you're playing, well, very music that nobody likes, right? Just like me. Um, you just you do something else maybe, but that you enjoy. Just play music you enjoy. If I want to be a bit more like, well, if I want to play music that a broad audience gonna like, I'm gonna play house music, but I'm gonna play the house music that I think is cool, the music that I listen to, and it's okay. Just play the music you like, but and that's okay if people don't like it. I think that's my only advice I have for like the hardest lessons is that, one point you join, you're gonna play music, nobody's gonna like it, they're gonna leave, that's alright. It's okay. Doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you're a bad person.
How long did it take you to learn that lesson? May I ask? It sounds like a lesson that stuck quite well and that you've adapted to quite well.
I took some time because at first I was doing drum and bass, and drum and bass is fairly popular in VRChat. So after that, I switched to dubstep a little bit more. I wanted to show people what dubstep is, so I was playing kind of the classics and a lot of very popular dubstep tracks. And then at one point, I kind of got bored of the classics, so I went a bit harder, and that's when I started losing people. Even at the start, I was kind of losing people because dubstep is very hard. And when at one point you go to a club and you see like 40 people disconnects during your set because they don't like the music, you just take a little bit like, you're like, I guess they didn't like it. But that's all right because the club owner, he booked you for you. He didn't book you for the crowd. He doesn't care that the crowd is disconnecting. He booked you for you because he likes you. And yeah, I think that's the first time you see a lot of people disconnect when you're playing music because they don't like it at all. That kind of hurts, but you shouldn't care. Honestly, you shouldn't care. You just play what you want.
Well, I very much agree with that statement. Doing what you makes you happy, and the right people will follow suit. It's a lesson I think a lot of people need to learn. At least in my opinion, I see too many people bending to
Yeah.
what they think others will like, and then they don't become the same person they used to be.
Yeah, definitely. I think, especially in the music scene, it's you're you and you're bringing something different. If you bring the same thing as any other one, you're not gonna be different. You're not gonna be you. You need to be yourself and showcase what you like, showcase the music you like. It can be very like I can play very commercial music. The music you hear at the radio. It's music that I think is good. It's music I like, and it's still me. So that's all right. You shouldn't play music you don't like just because you think you're gonna get bookings for that. You should play music only, showcase who you are. That's what this music scene is about, showcasing who you are.
So, what have been some of your favorite events you've DJ'd at, or favorite places, or things you've done in VRChat with DJing?
My favorite places, I think one of the events that really struck with me for the long time was it was the Yoko event. I can't remember exactly the name of the event, but it was a festival that was like for 2 days, I think. It was one of the first Yoko event. And there was a lot of DJs, and I remember Antic actually offered me to open for that event. He was like, I can't be there, but you should go there and I can book you in my place. So I said yes, and I went there, and I remember like seeing that poster and all the names on it. And at the time, I didn't know much people on that lineup because I was just very new in the scene.
Hmm.
And I see all those names. I recognize some of them, and nowadays I look at that list and I know nearly all of them, and nearly all of them are people that I've seen grew in the scene, that I've seen go and get bigger and play all those cool places. And some of them stopped, some of them are still there. But it's very cool, like seeing all those names that back then I didn't know, and now I'm like, I can call some of them my friends. And
Hmm.
it's really struck with me with like, what a crazy lineup for me at the time.
Hmm.
This one was a Yeah, this one was really one event that really struck with me for the longest time since the start, honestly, I think.
Oh wow.
And of course, all the events I did with the French Corner, we did pretty big events um, where I was DJing. That they really struck with me also because we really spent a lot of time. Some of them took like 2 months, to make the world and organize everything. Took 2 months. So yeah, that really struck with me as well.
Oh
Um,
wow.
Definitely, yeah, those events, yeah. They're from the start. It's crazy because all those events are from the start of my DJing career, I'd say, but they really struck with me.
Hmm. So, what is it you get out of DJing and performing for people in this scene, Mask? What is it you get out of it, or what is something you enjoy from it?
Um, I enjoy showcasing good music. I think I have good taste for what it is. Because I still listen to dubstep and most of it is kind of garbage, but I like it. Um, no, I like showcasing music. I like showcasing weird sounds, and honestly, when I go. I'm first of all like I'm someone that goes to those shows in real life and in VR. I go to dubstep shows. I go to drum and bass shows. I enjoy being in the front and fucking up the rail. That's something I like. So that's what I'm trying to convey in my sets. I'm trying to make people like, feel crazy, feel like wow, the music is empowering me and feel like I want to move and headbang. And on top of that, there is the technical aspect of DJing. That it's a challenge. You're like in front of all those knobs and stuff, and you have to make it sound good, which is a challenge in itself.
Hmm.
And so when you're like struggling to make something and then you finally do it and then you look up and you see people going crazy, it's such a good feeling. Like you're like, I did it. I did something. I struggled for 2 minutes right there making my tweaks and knobs and stuff, and then I look up and I see people going crazy. That's pretty great. A very good feeling. And
Hmm.
of course, there's the discovering the tracks, listening to music, saying like, ah, this music sounds a bit different. I like it. I'm gonna take it. Or, it's making all those big box of music. I like it. I download music all the time. For example, yeah, listening to music all the time, downloading music. It's great because I know when I started DJing, I didn't know anything about music genres, music styles. I knew a little bit of genres. I knew what drum and bass was. I knew what dubstep was. But then you have in drum and bass, you have the main stage, mainstream type of music. Then you have the neurofunk, you have the jump up, you have the liquid, you have the 4x4, all those things. And you're like, I don't even know what they were. But now I know, and I know how to categorize them. I know how to put them. It's great. Like, I feel like I learned a lot, and I still do learn a lot about music and history of music as well.
Hmm. So, I have another interesting question for you. Since you've started DJing, that got into running events in both real life and VR chat, and then running Sanctuary, Um, how different is each experience from like going from DJing into running events in real life and in running a club? Do you see the music scene of VRchat differently? Is it how do you adjust and adapt to the new experience that you're taking part in?
Yeah, it's a good question because when I first got into the VRchat scene, I kind of stuck with it for a little while. I wasn't going to in real life events much. I was going to VRchat events a lot. So I was seeing all those cool things in VRchat, and then I go back to the in real life events, and I'm like, it's different in some ways. The music is different, the energy is different. And how do you translate that energy into VRchat, right?
Hmm.
Because I like the energy in real life. I am nowadays I'm a bit less fan of the energy that is VRchat, but that's another topic, you know. So how do I put that? I take that energy in real life and I put them in VRchat to make it more interesting.
Hmm.
That's questions I ask myself. Turns out there's no answers because it's very different how it's made. There's how it's people go outside to like have a sweat, you know, they move, they interact with people. It's so much easier to interact. The music is louder, stuff like this. Of course, in VRChat, you're like in the comfort of your home, so there's some stuff you won't do in real life. For example, I wouldn't go partying sitting on a chair in real life, but I do it in VRChat because I have the comfort of my home and I can be in my chair. So, there's stuff like this. But I still like both. I think the VRChat scene is interesting because it's very creative. You see a lot of creativity, you see different environments, you hear a lot of different music as well. Then in real life I don't see that much. I go to dubstep shows, I go to drum and bass shows, UK garage. I stay in the bass music, but if I go in VRChat in one night, I can listen to every genre possible. You know, I can listen to so much different music. It's still cool. It's still cool to have that. And I see crazy DJs in VRChat that I feel like could be in real life. And that's kind of what Anticorp came to. You know, it's taking those crazy DJs in VRChat and putting them in real life and see how their energy translate in real life worked. So yeah.
Hmm. So another question I have for you is, when you explain what you do in VRChat to people who have never been in or know what it is, how do you do that, and what is their general reception to being told?
I remember explaining to my parents what I was doing in VRChat back then. Um, and I remember them kind of like, how do you say that? Not really understanding, but kinda. Um, I think what really helped was, the movie Ready Player Me.
Yeah.
That movie, it really helped because my parents seen that movie. They liked it a lot, and they were like, "Oh, it's just like Ready Player Me." And you're like, "Well, yeah, exactly. It's just like Ready Player Me, but a bit less crazy, but it's just like that, you know?" And so it's so easy to explain. Once they seen that movie, you can explain. You can just be like, "Yeah, it's exactly like that, just a bit less advanced because that movie is sci-fi." But
Hmm.
you explain them, it's just like Ready Player Me, and instantly they understand and they start getting into it and like, oh, that's cool, how does that work? Of course, there's the technical aspect that people think about, they're like, oh, with the headset and all, and you don't go too much into the details. You're not like, oh, I get blasted at my home every weekend listening to music with people on my headset, because they won't understand that you're drinking alone at your place, but technically you're not alone, you're with other people.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was fairly easy to explain through Ready Player Me. I think that movies helped so much with people understanding like what VR is and VR communities. And explaining to my parents, I was like, well, I'm DJing live at my place. Um, they know what a live stream is. They listen to the radio. They know that people listen to stuff online. I told them, well, I do that, but instead of people listening and doing nothing inside of the computer, they're in VR and they can move and talk with others. And they find that actually more cool than just listening to music on their computer. Like that's more interesting for them.
Hmm.
They won't do VR, but they still find it very cool to have the degree of, being interactive and being able to move and stuff. They won't do VR because they will get sick, but they like it.
Okay. So, last couple of questions before you wrap up. One of them is Raptor's famous question
Yeah,
that I have not. If I don't ask you, I don't think he'd forgive me. Which is, what is the weirdest
yeah.
thing you've seen in VR chat?
Oh, gosh, I wouldn't know. There's so much weird stuff you see in this game all the time. Um, wow, weirdest stuff. I think it's those. I think do you maybe you remember those crazy shitpost world that you used to see in 2021, 2022.
Mm,
Uh, it's like those crazy worlds with those like the skybox is just Shrek and like
Shrek
so much
Church.
going on, so much noise. Yeah, Shrek Church, water closet, and all those crazy worlds. Like that's just weird. This so it's so weird, and I don't know what kind of sick brain you need to make those, but goddamn, they I've stayed so too long on those worlds. I stayed too long in those worlds. I had headaches after staying that much time. Like, it's crazy.
You know, you speaking of that reminded me of a world in the same vein when I first popped in. I think it was early 2001. And I saw this world. I world
Yeah.
hop regularly, even since when I first got into VR chat, I was that way. I saw this. I think it was called Shrek Toilet, or it was about the same time I discovered Shrek Church. I was like, "What is this Shrek Toilet thing?" And I spawn in, and there's like three Shreks taking a shit over you as soon as you spawn. It's like, "What the fuck am I
Yeah.
here for?"
Yeah. It's so weird. Yeah, those worlds are kind of something else, honestly. But I think the weirdest worlds might be the fetishist Japanese world where they like, for example, you have this giant girl and you can go inside her mouth and stuff like that's just weird. That's just plain weird. Japanese people have some weird kinks, you know. Like they're like, no, it's just a girl that's sleeping, but you know damn well that's a fetish, you know. It's like you can't just. It's so weird.
Fair. Now, the name you have in VR chat, where'd it come from, and why do you still use it?
Oh, so when I first got into the metaverse music stuff, you know, I had weird names. All my life, I had weird names online. And when I got into VR chat, I thought I wanted to. It was the metaverse, you know, for me. So I was like, I need a first name, a last name. So Chaika is one of my favorite characters in anime. It's from an anime called Itsuki no Chaika that I recommend. And she's a girl that she's a princess. You know, it's a crazy story, but that's why the name come from. And Raven was my old name. Basically, I was my old name in video games was Raven, but in French, so Corbeau. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna take this new name and I'm gonna change this in English, and here you go. It's my full name. It's my legal name in VR. You know, here you go. And that's it. That's gonna stay there. And now I'm kind of switching back to only Chaika because I feel like that's shorter and that's also my artist name in real life. So I'm kind of staying with just Chaika now.
Okay. And the avatar you're in, why do you use it? And was there anything about it that means anything to you?
So this avatar I'm using is I made it myself. I have 160 avatars uploaded currently onto my to my
Oh,
account,
wow.
so I change a lot. I change a lot. I have never the same avatar kinda. But this one kind of stuck with me. I mean the hair and everything. Chaika in the anime has white hair, so I'm keeping the white hair. Um, and yeah, I'm using it. I like this outfit a lot, made by Freebon on Booth. So I've been using this one a lot. The crown, I can't remember. I don't remember who made it, but I just like the little crown with the thorns and stuff. I think that's really cool. Um, I have a lot of stuff on my head. I noticed that I have the horns, the little thingy here, and everything. But it's just things I like. I find cool. I put it on my avatar, and then I didn't change outfits and stuff. but I change avatars all the time. Honestly, I just like making stuff, and Booth is really nice to make avatars fairly easily.
Mm.
So I just make avatars all the time.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Chaika, for coming on and letting us get to know you, hearing story from when you started, Anticorp and Sanctuary. We appreciate hearing all of it, so thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me. It was really cool.
Hmm.
I really enjoyed it talking about all those things, you know. Oh, maybe Lion.
Yes.
I remember earlier talking about a thing that I will describe Anticorp and what is Anticorp. I didn't. I
Oh,
forgot.
well, let's throw it here. What is Anticorp? Tell us now.
Okay, yeah, it's my bad. Anticorp is a mixed reality event that me and Antic created and invited me to work on, and we have 5 other people, very talented people that work with us that are not from VR. And Anticorp is a in real life and VR event that's happening in Belgium. That happened in Belgium back in March, and we're working on making a new one soon enough. I don't have a date, but soon enough. Um, it's a mixed reality event, which means that you have DJs from in real life and DJs from VR that are both DJing on the same lineup, and everyone is seeing them, the people in real life, the people in VR. To explain the little technicality behind that is that we have DJs from VR that will DJ for you in VR. Let's say you're in vrchattrave, you see the VR DJ. That's all right. Just like that's normal, okay? But the people in real life, they're gonna see those DJs as holograms behind the DJ deck in real life. So they're gonna see holograms that are throwing down good music behind a DJ deck, and they find that crazy because that's holograms. And when you're gonna see the in real life DJs, so this time it was Tentron and Protostar. For example, if Protostar, he came to our place in Belgium, he played there in front of 500 people. Well, in VR, you're gonna see the video feed of that DJ being in front of the DJ deck. And the little thing that's changing from normal Portal events, I'd say, it's that the DJ in real life, they see you, the crowd in VR. They see you because we have a video projector behind the people in real life with the people in VR. So they see you. And you, in real life, the VR DJs part, my bad, the VR DJs, they see the in real life crowd as well in game. Like, we have different cameras, different stuff, different projectors. We have a portal, we have VR headset that are available in real life so people can come and talk to you in VR. Everything is made to like erase the borders of VR chat and in real life. Everything is made to be like seamless, and it's a very, very cool event, and I hope to see you there when we do the next one. I don't know when, but you know, when we do the next one in Belgium, I hope to see you guys there.
Well, I hope to see that people join as well. And so that actually
Yeah.
sounds. Sorry, we're actually extending this video, so I know you are like hoping to get off and not hear this orange fuck anymore, but you're welcome. With
Yeah.
how are you setting that up with projectors, cameras, holograms? Like, it sounds very technical in how it runs.
It is technical, but honestly, you just need a lot of computers.
Yeah, can
Because you
imagine.
need a that's the whole thing. We killed the computer last even, I think, but we have a portal. So the portal is just you see the people in VR, they see you, you can interact with like little, you know, boards and stuff. You can talk to them. So that's one computer already, just for that. Then you need you have the cameras that are filming the crowd in VR for the in real life DJ. So that's just another computer. Then you have the in real life crowd for the VR DJ. That's another computer. Then you need a computer that just film the DJs, the VR DJs to put the holograms. inside. So honestly, we needed a lot of stuff. And when we got there, we noticed we didn't have Ethernet cables, for example.
Mm.
So we had to make our own Ethernet cables. We bought like I think it was 10 meters of cable and just plugs, and we had to cut them by hand and put the plugs in. It was crazy. And and we needed as well the video projectors. We rely heavily on video projectors and for the portal, for everything. And then we needed 3 computers for the VR headsets that were available for the in real life crowd that wanted to try it out in VR. So,
Mm.
just come and talk to you guys in VR because they're at this in real life show, but they have a little bit of free time drinking the beer, they're coming to see you and talk to you in VR and see what's going on the other side of the world, which I think is pretty cool.
Mm.
Technical aspect, yeah, it was very heavy. Like I think we had like 8 computers or something. It was crazy.
Mm.
Way too much work. We had to buy like GPUs before the show. We had to buy new computers, headsets, everything. Yeah, it was a lot of money involved in that because when you're doing something at this scale, you have to buy the GPU that can handle VR chat and 80 people. That's something. You need to have all that, and I think we still had laptops on top of that to handle some stuff. So that was just too much. Just too much computers in there.
I'm sure
Yeah.
trying to keep everything cool, all those computers cool, was a nightmare.
Um. Yeah, we're lucky to have a good place to host the event. It was like a very old farm, I think. I don't
Mm.
even know what it is, but it's like very old rocks. The walls are. It's like European style house. It's very old, and it was very nice. The cooling was working very well, and that was great.
Mm.
And also we did it in winter, so that was all right. But I don't see us doing it in summer. I think in summer it's just dumb. Like running 10 computers in a summer, we shouldn't do that. So winter, I think we should keep it to winter. You know.
Okay. So I have another funny question about the real life event. When we talked with 2TD, I asked him this question as well. When the event ended, what did you do with everything? How did you like give it away?
Oh,
Did you keep it?
we kept everything. I mean, we had one computer that died, one VR headset that died. So the VR headset is just dead. So discarded. The thing is, Anticorp is relying heavily on CRT TVs, big CRT TVs. So we bought them and we are still keeping them because we're still doing this the next year. We'll have more TVs, but we're still keeping the TVs. We're keeping everything. Most of the computers are personal computers. So people from the team and friends who are bringing our own computers, we just had to give them a new GPU, for example. So some of the friends got a free upgrade, I guess. That's pretty cool.
That's really nice of him.
So yeah, we gave them like we keeping the computers, most of them. Some of this stuff we are. I don't think we threw away anything, honestly. For example, the DJ gear was rented. We rented the lasers. We killed one laser as well. I remember now. Um, the lasers were rented. The cameras were rented. Everything was rented. So honestly, what we got at the end was just we kept the CRT TVs. We had a lot of beers and a lot of alcohol left that we actually sold back to another group of people that were doing events as well in Belgium. That's pretty nice. The Belgian community is very nice. So we'll just send them a text, be like, yeah, we have a lot of beer left. Who wants it? We can sell it for a small price and can have cheap beer for your next event. So that's something we did. But for the rest, we're keeping everything and for the next event, because we're not gonna throw away like good headsets and stuff like this. We're keeping everything.
Okay. Now, what what was it? What about the event stuck with you when you ran it? for the first time, that large event with all those things going on?
Oh, the thing that stuck with me, I think stuck with everyone was the setup. Um, you know those big gray CRT TVs,
Mm.
right? Those ones. They're super heavy. Nobody knew about that. It was like this is like for them it's like 30 kilograms, you know, it's very, very heavy. So the setup was just very hard because we had to lift all those TVs like 2 meters in the air and stuff. It was that kind of stuck with everyone because even the day after we had to take everything off and we're like, gosh, not the TVs again. I think that was just, yeah, that was very big. And the other thing that stuck with me was seeing artists that don't know VR. For example, Tentron, which is an artist I love, and I saw him at very big festivals. I saw him on Rampage, I saw him at a lot of places. This guy's never heard of VR, and when we explain it to him, it's like, oh wow, that's so cool. I want to see that. And then he goes to the VR headsets, put the VR headsets on. He's like, wow, that's so cool. I might need one at home, you know. And he's like, discovering all this world is very, it's something, you know. You're like, oh, this guy is someone I really enjoy. I really like his music, and is discovering a world that made this happen, you know. So that was very something, very wholesome, very nice to see.
I'm sure.
I really enjoyed that moment.
Mm.
Yeah.
What was it like working with someone that you enjoy or idolize, may I ask?
Um, Well, I wasn't very. I was more on the technical aspect. I was more
Mm.
handling all the VR chat stuff, so I didn't get to really talk much with the artist
Mm.
because we had people for that. We have people that make sure the artists are, you know, having a good time, having food and stuff. But you know, when he came to talk to the VR stuff, I think it was very. It's like, wow, this guy is pretty cool. He is pretty cool and is like very interested in what we do. And you realize those people are just like you.
Mm.
Um, we're lucky to have Tenshan, who's a very down-to-earth guy, very open-minded and a fun guy in general. So that was nice to have, you know, be working on a cool project with cool people. That was very nice. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, well, thank you very much. Again, it's been an absolute honor to hear your
Yes.
stories and learn about everything. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah,
No
that
problem.
was very nice. I'm sorry about the little thing, you
Oh,
know, just
n-
oh, forgot to talk about this.
no, 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 no. Don't be sorry at all. As I tell everyone, never apologize for tangents at all. It's how Raptor and I learn things. It's one of the things we enjoy doing all the time. We've heard a lot of people, I'm sorry, what a 1 hour tangent about AI. It's like, don't apologize. It's something you're into. We get to learn about you, what excites you. And in turn, we learn things we wouldn't normally. So thank you.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, that was very nice. To yap for like I don't know how many times, but you know, it's very nice to share about my story and hopefully inspire others, try out new stuff
Hmm.
and try out making worlds and hosting events, you know.
Well, if the audience wishes to reach out and see anything you do, for either in VR or out of VR, where can they go to find you?
You can find me on Twitter at ChaikaRaven. You can find me on Discord at ChaikaRaven. That's where I am most of the time. You can also follow my Instagram, Chaika_music. This is more in real life. This is if you want to follow my in real life shenanigans, but you know, that's something I plug too. And yeah, Twitter, Discord, that's where you can find me and what I do in VR most of the time. Yeah.
Alrighty, well, thank you very much. And in the description of the Hoobly What's It right down that way is all the links you can find both Sanctuary and Anticorp, all of ChaikaRaven socials
Yes.
will be right down there for you to find in one easy to click place, as well as some other cool thingamabobs and hoodads that's down there. So, with that said, normally we'd have Raptor close it out, but I'll give you the question and the closing. So, with that said, for the question I'm going to give you, the audience, is what was the first concert or show you've ever seen in real life? Let us know about it and the whole experience and who you saw. We'd love to read about it. And with a closing bit, Raptor usually has something inspirational or some goofy thing, and I'll say this. I'm going to bank off one thing that Chaika said earlier. Always be yourself and never sell your soul to be liked by others, because in the end, if you become what others enjoy, you are less yourself, in a sense, lying to people. So how could someone really enjoy who you are if you are just portraying a mask of what others enjoy? So with that said, always be who you are. The right people will follow suit. If no one likes you, you're better off without them to begin with. So with that said, see you in the metaverse, and we'd love to read what you've put down below. Have a good day, everybody.